In the fast-paced realm of online fame, shock value can propel an unknown creator to instant stardom. Whether it's outrageous pranks or raw, unfiltered live streams, the thirst for attention can lead creators to cross lines they never would have imagined. No one exemplifies this better than Vitaly, a longtime YouTube prankster whose wild stunts once garnered millions of views, but now he's staring down the barrel of potentially decades in prison in the Philippines. What went wrong? According to his critics, everything started with small, silly pranks that escalated into genuine harassment and even violent behavior. Over time, Vitaly became entangled in controversies across multiple countries, culminating in a string of incidents in the Philippines that outraged both the public and the government. Making matters even murkier are rumors of his so-called predator-catching streams, supposedly exposing child abusers, but possibly staged for views. Today, Vitaly's story has become a cautionary tale for everyone chasing viral fame. With the rise of platforms like Kick, where fewer ads and lighter moderation lure creators seeking an edgier environment, the risk of going overboard has never been higher. How did Vitaly go from a YouTube sensation, daring enough to run onto the field during the World Cup, to an undesirable alien locked up abroad, uncertain if he'll ever step into the spotlight again? Vitaly didn't start out as a hardened criminal or a hate figure online. In fact, his earliest videos featured harmless pranks, like the classic zombie chase, where he and friend would dress up in tattered clothing and pretend to run after unsuspecting people at night. Viewers found it hilarious, praising his ability to create panic and relief all at once. He developed an on-screen persona, a fearless, sometimes obnoxious trickster who lived for the adrenaline rush of shocking strangers. Back in the early 2010s, YouTube's prank genre was exploding. Creators discovered that the platform rewarded boldness. The more extreme a prank, the more clicks and shares it received. Vitaly capitalized on that trend, inching further across the line between silly pranks and public disturbances. His biggest early success came around 2012 when he pulled a fake bomb scare stunt. In that video, he nonchalantly approached bystanders with a suitcase, hinting it was about to blow. Understandably, people ran for their lives. Local law enforcement didn't see the humor. Vitaly got arrested, and his mugshot, plastered across social media, served as a twisted badge of honor among his fans. Instead of deterring him, it validated his strategy. Fear plus spectacle equaled views and notoriety. From that point forward, every new scheme had to outdo the last, and every arrest seemed to embolden him. By 2014, Vitaly's pranks were evolving into highly publicized field invasions. He ran onto the pitch during the World Cup, weaving past security until they tackled him to the ground. For many, that was their first introduction to the reckless prankster, a daredevil who laughed off the threat of jail. But if anyone thought that experience might teach him humility, they were sorely mistaken. Shortly after, he set his sights on the NBA Finals, darting across the court mid-game, broadcasting the entire fiasco on his YouTube channel. Once again, he was detained. Then came the Hollywood sign stunt in 2016, an incident that combined the thrill of trespassing with the scale of a national landmark. He posted about climbing the huge letters, mocking the possibility of being arrested. And, predictably, he was arrested yet again. Perhaps the strangest part was that each arrest fueled his audience's fascination. Viewers would tune in to see how far Vitaly would go before law enforcement inevitably stepped in. From the outside, it looked like a cycle. Take an insane risk, get tackled by security, post bail, upload the footage, and repeat. The drama was addictive, both for him and for his growing fan base. Now and then, critics ask the obvious question: why does this guy keep doing it if it always leads to jail? But for Vitaly, the road to internet fame was paved with mugshots and clickbait titles, something he seemed entirely comfortable with. Vitaly's appetite for extreme stunts eventually took him overseas. In 2020, he traveled to Egypt, presumably eager to film epic content in a new, exotic locale. While there, he decided to scale the Pyramid of Giza, a site not only protected by laws but revered for its cultural and historical significance. He vlogged himself scrambling up the ancient stones, proclaiming his love for Mother Nature and the universe. Egyptian authorities didn't share this sentiment. He was arrested and jailed for 5 days, during which time he reportedly clashed with local officials who didn't appreciate a foreigner showing off on one of humanity's greatest monuments. You might think 5 days in an Egyptian jail would force some self-reflection, On the surface, Vitaly's subsequent public statements were defiant. He bragged about having endured a hardcore experience and spun it into another marketing ploy for his brand. The overshadowing worry among watchers was that his pranks were evolving from comedic illusions into real provocations, taunting local laws and ignoring the boundaries of cultural respect. That shift became even more apparent a few months later in Miami. Far from a structured stunt, the Florida incident was deeply disturbing. Vitaly, allegedly under the influence of multiple substances, he mentioned mushrooms, though many speculate it was more, attacked a random woman out for a jog. Reports say he tried to hug her uninvited. She resisted, and he responded by viciously beating her. Mugshots surfaced, capturing a wild-eyed Vitaly who looked far removed from the comedic troublemaker fans once knew. Public sympathy evaporated, replaced by shock and condemnation. After the Miami assault case, it seemed that Vitaly vanished from the public eye. Many assumed his channel was finished. Who would sponsor or even watch a man with a history of violence against a stranger? Yet Vitaly found a new angle. Live streams aimed at confronting alleged predators, those individuals who exploit underage victims. The concept itself wasn't new. YouTube had seen a wave of vigilante-like channels that set up stings by pretending to be minors online, luring potential abusers to public meetups. The confrontation typically involved a camera, humiliating questions, and a moral pat on the back for saving children. But Vitaly took it further, streaming these confrontations on Kick, a platform known for fewer restrictions and fewer ads than Twitch. Kick's laid-back approach was a magnet for creators who felt stifled by stricter services. However, rumors soon spread that Vitaly's stings were faked. Skeptics asked, who in their right mind would sign up to be labeled a predator in front of tens of thousands of live viewers, if it were real? Some allege that Vitaly was paying actors to pretend to be predatory individuals, effectively scamming his audience for donations and hype. Lawsuits started appearing from people claiming they had been falsely implicated. Others insisted they were never told the real premise of the videos. Whatever the truth, the swirl of controversy once again put Vitaly under scrutiny. Understanding Vitaly's pivot to predator-catching streams also requires a look at the bigger picture. The economics of live streaming. On Twitch, creators deal with frequent ad breaks that can frustrate viewers. Twitch does allow viewers to subscribe, usually for $5 a month, to avoid ads, but that subscription revenue might not always be enough to justify the strict guidelines. Kick, on the other hand, drew headlines by offering streamers friendlier revenue splits and fewer ads overall. It gave them a platform to push boundaries further without instant demonetization. For Vitaly, Kick was a goldmine of opportunity. With minimal intervention from platform moderators, he could ramp up the shock factor in real time and collect donations from an audience that craved edgier content. At the same time, other streamers like Aiden Ross, Fusi, Kai, and others were testing how far they could go on Kick before getting into serious trouble. The logic was simple. Fewer ads, fewer rules, more sensational content, and hopefully, more money. But as Vitaly would learn in the Philippines, evading a streaming platform's rules doesn't mean you can evade actual law enforcement. Despite the success of these vigilante-style stings, rumors about staged scenarios took a toll on Vitaly's credibility. He needed a new jolt of internet attention, something so outlandish it would overshadow even the controversies. With that in mind, he packed his bags for Southeast Asia, perhaps thinking he could replicate the chaos that had worked elsewhere. In 2025, Vitaly arrived in the Philippines with boundless confidence, bragging that he was about to enter Ultra Demon Time. What? He posted teasers stating that no one could control him anymore, that he didn't have a management team reining him in, and that he'd be free to do as he pleased. Initially, these statements stirred a buzz among fans who had watched him slip off the radar after the predator-catching drama. Was Vitaly poised for a massive comeback? His plan: roam public spaces in the Philippines, harass locals, film it all, and stream it live on Kick. Early clips show him threatening to rob a female passerby if she didn't comply with his demands. He sneaked into restaurant kitchens, messed with staff, and hopped onto a security guard's motorcycle without permission, bragging as viewers egged him on through donations. At one point, he swiped a pedestal fan, joking it was his only fan, a mock reference to a popular subscription site. It was a bizarre spectacle, just part stand-up comedy, part open provocation. Many watchers were horrified. Still, the donations flowed, fueling Vitaly's notion that his brand of chaos was unstoppable. That illusion shattered when Philippine authorities decided enough was enough. They tracked him down and arrested him on multiple charges, broadcasting the bust to a nation already furious about his disrespectful behavior. Soon after Vitaly's arrest, an interior secretary in the Philippines addressed the situation in interviews, making it clear there would be no immediate deportation. Instead, Vitaly was labeled an undesirable alien, subject to local laws and legal proceedings. Suddenly, the breezy arrogance Vitaly had displayed, blowing kisses at cameras, smirking in mugshots, seemed wildly misplaced. Reports and updates reveal a litany of charges against him: vandalism, unjust vexation, burglary, theft, and possibly even a firearm offense. Though the specifics are murky, some netizens wonder if local authorities are throwing the book at him, stacking charges to ensure a lengthy sentence. Others believe his behavior genuinely merits this level of punishment, pointing to the videos as unambiguous proof of wrongdoing. To compound Vitaly's problems, the Philippine judicial system can be slow. Rumor has it he might wait 2 or 3 years in detention before even getting a proper trial. If convicted on multiple counts, each carrying a potential minimum of 5 years, he could be looking at 20 or more years in prison. Critics have pointed out that for a 30-something influencer used to an easy life of online fame, that's essentially a life-altering, if not a life-ending, prospect. The internet, ever hungry for conspiracy theories, buzzes with talk that the government might be making an example of Vitaly. Some fans claim the system is corrupt and that local authorities will raw dog him indefinitely. As certain social media commentators put it, allegations of planted evidence, inflated charges, and personal vendettas swirl online, yet the other side of the discussion points to Vitaly's own videos, showing blatant harassment, theft, and threats on camera. Which is true. As with so many controversies in the internet era, the answer might lie somewhere in the middle. What's certain is that Vitaly isn't living the high life behind bars. Reports indicate he's confined to a cramped detention area with minimal provisions, limited communication, and no streaming gear. The daily food allowance is said to be around 70 pesos, a meager sum that can't buy the comforts he once enjoyed. He has gone from boasting about demon time to facing the realities of a judicial system that doesn't respond to hype or sensationalism. Vitaly's predicament is more than just personal tragedy. It sends shockwaves through the entire IRL streaming community, where bigger and bolder stunts have become the norm. Platforms like Kick have allowed creators to push the envelope with fewer repercussions, at least until they infringe upon actual laws. Now, with Vitaly's arrest making international headlines, many high-profile streamers are rethinking how far they're willing to go. It's a lesson that echoes beyond Kick, too. Twitch, with its frequent ad breaks and stricter guidelines, still hosts edgy content, but cracks down swiftly on misconduct. Despite the frustration from creators about midstream ads, Twitch's partnership deals and subscription models remain lucrative enough for many to stay. Kick offers a refreshing alternative for those who despise ads and want more creative freedom. But as Vitaly's story illustrates, absolute freedom can be a double-edged sword. If a creator crosses over into harassment, theft, or violence, no lenient streaming policy will protect them from law enforcement. This dynamic begs the question: are we reaching a point of content saturation where viewers demand such extreme on-camera behavior that creators risk crossing moral and legal lines just to keep them hooked? Vitaly's case might prompt some introspection. Perhaps the entire community will recognize the importance of boundaries, ethical conduct, and the need to differentiate real exposure of wrongdoing from sensational, possibly staged theatrics. While it's tempting to view Vitaly's downfall purely through the lens of internet drama, it's crucial to remember there's a human side to all of this. He once seemed like a fun-loving prankster, someone who exploited comedic shock value for attention. Over time, the line between comedy and criminality blurred, with real people left in his wake. A jogger in Miami whose routine run turned into a nightmare, unsuspecting bystanders who thought they'd stumbled upon a bomb, or Filipinos who found themselves harassed on camera for viral clips. Vitaly's narrative reveals how quickly an online brand can morph into a destructive force when personal accountability erodes. Each new arrest was a stepping stone in his mind, fueling the notion that any publicity was good publicity. But at some point, the arrests stopped being harmless detours. They became red flags that he was not only addicted to attention, but also willing to disregard legal boundaries, no matter where he traveled. Now, the cost he faces is staggering. even if the conspiracy theories about corruption and stacked charges hold any water, it's undeniable that Vitaly handed authorities plenty of incriminating footage. He bragged about no team to control me, but it's evident that some measure of self-control might have saved him from this fate. So, where does Vitaly's story end? As of now, he remains in a Filipino detention center awaiting a trial that could be years away. He could end up spending the better part of his life behind bars, far from the stadiums he once sprinted across, the Hollywood sign he climbed, or the pranks that made him internet famous in the first place. No more demon time, no more carefree streams. If anything, his story underscores how ephemeral online fame can be when it clashes with real-world consequences.